Hello and welcome to Lunch and Learn. My name is Monty Tisland. Today we're going to be talking about BAQ subqueries in Epicor 10. As we all know, some of the BAQs can get complicated due to trying to get the data that we really want. Subqueries are a way to make the query diagrams easier to understand. This is a new feature in Epicor 10. Let's create a simple BAQ not using a subquery called CBDashNoSub. We're going to add three tables: the order head, the order detail, and the customer table. Now what we're going to do is we are going to add the criteria for, let's say we only want the customers in Illinois. And we only want the orders after the order date of June 1st. Okay, let's get some fields now. So we want to know whether it's an open order. We want the order number, customer number, and the order date. From the head, from the order detail, we want to know if it's an open line, and we want to know the extended amount right there. Okay, we're going to save the query. Let's analyze it and test it. And as we can see, it has returned 71 rows. So let's create a new one now. Let's create another one called CBDashSub. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add two tables here. We're going to create the order head, and we're going to drop the order detail. We're going to do the same thing here, where we want the order dates after June 1st. So now let's throw some fields on here. We're going to have the same fields: open order, order number, customer number, and the order date. And we want to know if it's an open line, and we want that document extended price. While we're here, we're going to give this a name. We're going to call this order details. We're going to save it. Let's analyze it and test it. Okay, so we returned 100 rows. We have 100 rows. So now let's add a subquery. So we'll go back to the query builder here. Let's go back to phrase build. All right. So we have the subquery option. There's the top level. We're going to add a new one here. And this one we're going to call filter customers. It's going to be an inner subquery, which we will discuss a little bit more later. We're going to go back to the phrase. We're going to add the customer table. And like before, we're going to add the state equal to Illinois. As for display fields, we only need one. And in a subquery of this type, you can only have one. So we're going to put it in here. We're going to add the customer number. That's the one that's going to link up. So now, in order for this to work, we need to link these two queries together. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the top one, which is the order detail subquery. We're going to go under phrase build. We need to select the subquery criteria. Oh, we got to select this detail table first. Grab the subquery table. We're going to add it. We need to select the order detail table if it does not, which it would if we would not have clicked to the order detail first. We're going to grab the field, which is the customer number, which is down here just a little. There it is. We want it to be equal to, so we're going to leave that one. And we're going to grab the selected query from this subquery. We're going to grab that one, just in case you happen to have multiples. So now we save it. We're going to analyze it. And we're going to test it. And again, we returned 71 rows as in the first one, which is what we want. Now is a good time to take a good sidestep, and let's discuss some of the different subquery types. Let's go back here. Let's go back into this one. Let's just go back into the options here. As you can see, there are a bunch of them here. Let's start with, we'll just start down the row here, the top level. This is the default value for each, or for a simple query. Each BAQ can contain one main top level subquery. A union, simply like a union like in SQL, uses this operator to combine the result of two or more select statements into a single result set. Union all, again like SQL, uses this to combine the result sets. It returns all rows even if the rows exist in more than one of them. The intersect, use this operator to display rows that display in both queries. It acts as an AND operator. Value is selected only if it displays in both statements. Except, use this operator to combine two select statements and return rows from the first select statement that are not returned by the second select statement. This means only rows which are not available in the second select are returned. CTE, this is the common table expression. Use this type to create a special type of subquery, which is, for example, helpful to create hierarchical queries. And the inner subquery, which is the example we used, use this to nest inside of another one, where you're using it to filter the other list. There are other options available here. There are options which are all, which returns all data without restrictions. Distinct, which will return only distinct rows or unique rows based on the data that's in it. The top, which will display a certain number of rows or a percentage of the rows depending on how you select it. Or distinct top, which combines both the distinct and the top clauses. As we look, if we were to select the top, you can do it by the number of rows or percent. If, for say, we want to do an offset, the offset is used if you want to, let's say you have a query that returns the top 10, and let's say you wanted to find out which ones are, the top 10 customer sales or something. Let's say you wanted to, okay, who's between 11 and 20. You would set an offset of 10, and then you fetch the next 10. That way you can get the next set of data. Just another option to do that. Okay, let's make sure we're still functional here. I haven't messed it up. And apparently I have. So let's clear it and reload it. There we go, back to 71 rows. Okay, now for the next one here we got a little more time, so let's do this. Let's change this so it's a little more functional. We're going to add a couple of parameters here. We're going to add a state parameter. And we're just going to default it to Illinois. Save. And we're going to add an order date so that we can make this a little more user-friendly, so that it can actually change the date that you want. So now let's go back to the query builder here. We're going to go back to this one. We're going to change it so that it uses the specified parameter of order date. And then let's go down and let's change this so that that one uses a specified parameter as well. We'll use the state one on this. So now we save it. Let's analyze it here. And if we do the same one, we get the same 71. If we try it again, let's do Indiana. Now we only return 24. So now we have a multifunctional query with a subquery. In recap, subqueries are a wonderful tool that came along in Epicor 10. It helps us, in this case, this one helps us use it so that we can filter our records better and make the query easier to look at. Again, my name is Monty Tisland, and thank you very much.